After the anime ends, it has been confirmed that Ash will no longer be the main character, and instead will be replaced by 2 new protagonists. And while this is sad, they did say they're going to do an 11 episode anime, which will basically wrap up any loose ends in Ash's story, and him finally becoming the Pokemon Master. What exactly will happen hasn't been said, but today I want to talk about all the loose ends that anime should explore before Ash's stories end. One storyline I will want to complete is that hopefully I'll get 100 subs by the end of the year. And if you could help me out, that would be great. To complete my storyline, all you have to do is like, comment, subscribe, and that's really it. But enough of my storyline, let's talk about Ash's storylines that he needs to complete. Now let's start out with the episodes that have already been released, and we'll go from there. So far nothing much has been confirmed with the episode that we have so far. The only real interesting thing is that Latios actually might be caught later in the series, which is if you've seen one of the Pokemon movies, it's a reference to that, where Ash and the Latios have a great bond. And well, the Latios, after Ash saved it, Latios has been following it. It's been turning invisible, and you can actually see in the background of some episodes. Another thing is that Misty is actually going to be accompanying Ash in his further journey. And that's about it. Now let's talk about some plotlines that should be solved. When trainers start their journey for becoming a Pokemon Master, they need to get their first Pokemon, respective to whatever region they're in. Well, we all know that Ash got Pikachu because, well, he woke up late and the 3 stars were already taken and Gary got Squirtle. There was one question that were never answered. Who got Charmander and Bulbasaur? These trainers were never mentioned and didn't even make it to the Indigo League from what we saw. The only theory is that the potential owners of Charmander was a kid named Damien, Ash's Charizard used to belong to, before it was Charizard, and abandoned him in the iconic heart-wrenching episode. At the moment, there are a few theories of what happened to the other 2 trainers. There's a few theories. Like I've said before, Damien. However, in the Mewtwo Strikes Back movie, there is a trainer called Corey, and people think that might be the Bulbasaur trainer. However, as we know, in the movie, Mewtwo wants the best trainers at the moment, and well, Corey was called, and we do know that at one point in the anime, apparently they were ahead of Ash in the beginning of the anime, but after after the 6th gym badge or something like that, they kind of gave up and they just didn't continue. And like we said, Corey is meant to be one of the best trainers in the world, and well, he didn't finish a gym challenge. Another theory is that Richie, who was in the Kanto League or Indigo League, might have been one of the secret trainers too, but we do know that, of course, he finished a gym challenge and he's in the Indigo League, so that counts him out. Plus, Professor Oak is also in the crowd, seeing them battle, so I think he would have said something or have noticed Richie. And yeah, that's really about it for this part of the mystery. We don't know if Team Rocket is leaving or staying, but I want to do a separate video about Team Rocket itself. I want to know if Jesse, James, and Meowth and Wobbuffet and all that are going to the next series, but if they're not, there's some storylines that they haven't, fully developed, and I want to do a separate video on them later. Remember Ash's Butterfree? Well, he's actually going to be returning at the end of Ash's story, and that's good. But what about Pidgeot? In Palatown Party Panic, while Ash and Co are journeying to the Orange Islands, they get attacked by a flock of Spearow. Their leader, a Fearow, is actually the Spearow who Ash tried to attack back in Pokemon I Choose You. Even after evolving, it still held a grudge. To defeat Fearow, Ash's Pidgeot finally takes the limelight and evolves into Pidgeotto to Pidgeot, there we go, to protect the Viridian Forest from the Fearow gang. Ash leaves Pidgeot here and promises one day to return, but he never did. And Pidgeot hasn't made an appearance since. Only recently has it made in Pikachu's flashback in Ash vs. Leon, but Ash has never mentioned it again. And even after so many times where he went back to Palatown, not once has he seen his first bird Pokemon he ever caught. Even though that bird is literally right around the corner. Viridian Forest is just right there across from Palatown. The GS Ball came and went. They delivered it, it was never opened, but what was inside it? We don't know yet, but it was most likely Celebi. It was actually planned to be Celebi, but that storyline was scrapped. Ash traveled parts of Kanto and Johto, and they really never thought to open up the ball. Honestly, the biggest blue balls of my life. The romance between Ash and Misty has always been there, and the same for Serena and Ash. Who will she get? Or he get? We all know that the infamous kiss scene with Serena, so likes things are leaning more toward her. And Ash sees more of Misty as a very good friend, but who knows? Maybe Ash and Brock will become starstruck lovers at the end. However, in the last episode of the Pokemon anime, we saw Misty really flirty with Ash. So maybe they might be Ash and Misty. Like I said, we'll see. Ash and Serena really didn't have a proper reunion, so who knows? Maybe they might have something when they reunite again. Now, we do know that reserve Pokemon are going to be coming back for this anime short season, I guess. For example, we just saw Clauncher and Leavanny and Corphish and a bunch of other old of Ash's Pokemon. However, there's one personal thing I want them to solve myself. Torterra. For the first segment of Diamond and Pearl, Turtwig was the star of Ash's Sinnoh team. That changed, of course, when Paul's Charmander switched over to Ash's team. And even worse, Turtwig evolved into Grottle, and despite it deprived it from speed, previously its main asset when it came to battling, there was seeds of an arc where Grottle was going to learn to reorient itself and become more of a defensive battler, but little was done with this. After evolving again to Torterra, the Pokemon never won against an opponent who wasn't Team Rocket. Ever. Torterra literally fell off. Torterra's losing track record became infamous in the fandom, and in particular, ineffectually rock climb attack has been nicknamed Suicide Mountain, justice for Torterra. And while we aren't getting any justice for Porygon anytime soon, because by the way, I mean, if you look at the anime, it was Pikachu's fault, not Porygon. Justice for Porygon, hashtag justice for Porygon, like unironically. But for real, I really do want him to bring back Torterra and to make him have an arc where he actually wins a battle against a trainer. And I also want Porygon to come back too. Like, I just want to see Porygon in all its round and edgy glory. Like, come on. I wonder how he'll sound like in anime. Team Plasma. In the early episodes of Pokemon Black and White, Team Rocket are assigned by Giovanni to acquire a celestial rock dubbed a Minion. This was meant to pay off in a two-part story defeating Team Plasma, wherein they would have squared off against Team Rocket. Giovanni desired the Minion power to ransom Unova's business elite, while Team Plasma wanted it to use to liberate Pokemon by turning them against their trainers. Ash and Pikachu would have destroyed the Minion to stop their both plans. However, due to the earthquake and tsunami consequential to Fukushima Daiichi, sorry if I mispronounced that, nuclear disaster, the episode was postponed and ultimately never aired. This had a domino effect on Team Plasma because they didn't even make their debut until much later in the anime. The original plans for the team eventually got discarded. So yeah, I would really want to see like them release the episodes of these sorts. It'll be really cool. I find the concept of Team Plasma just really unique in general. Ash's father. Not much is known about him, and even though they recently did an episode about him where we were finally going to see Ash's father, and then we basically got rickrolled. So yeah, hopefully we can know who is Ash's father once for all. It's not Mr. Oak, nor is it Mr. Mime. What happened to Primeape? And in that case, what happened to the rest of his released Pokemon? We haven't seen much of his released Pokemon, and hopefully we can see more about them and see what they're up to. Especially Primeape. It would be cool if Primeape joined Ash's team again and ended up becoming a Primeape from Pasea, or whatever the region's called. And yeah, it can evolve into whatever the evolution is called, the ghost type, I don't know. I'll put it up on screen. But that would be so cool in a plot twist, honestly. And that's basically all the plot that I really want them to finish up in a new Pokemon anime. Do you have any plots in mind? Don't forget to put it in the comments.